Hello guys, this is Anastasia from Isaac in Reims, together with Fernanda and the VPPM of Lille, Moite. We're talking about how to adapt French, the Isaac International procedures and tools to the French reality and to the local realities. So before I start, let's take a step back and look at what happened in January. We attracted talents, either online through social media or offline through InfoStands, for example. And in order to filter applications to find the best talents and to integrate them into our teams and make the teams work, we have to follow some steps. So the first contact, for example, don't take more than 24 hours to contact the applicants. Why? We should contact them as soon as possible because they could lose interest, they could be recruited by another association, or we could lose our professional image. So please send an email and a Facebook message because we're not always checking all the time the emails. Also use this possibility to solve all the questions regarding ISAC and the recruitment process. Prepare an email and do it in English and in French. So you can make sure that, for example, foreign students, they won't misunderstand your emails and that they're not getting scared, for example, because they don't speak French perfectly. Don't hesitate to ask them to send their CV so you can prepare your interviews, but also make sure that only the most motivated candidates get in. So as you can see, in the email you're presenting yourself, you're saying, we're really happy to have you in a recruitment process. Here you can see the most important events and why it's relevant to you. And then you're asking them to help you organize the interview. You have already defined dates, possible dates, and the location, and you're communicating this to the applicant and giving them a clear deadline when you need the answer. So here you can see the same in French. Don't hesitate to adapt it to your local reality, to your local events. And once you get your interview organized, or like a specific answer of the applicant, you have two choices. Either you organize individual interviews with one person, or collective interviews, so-called assessment centers. But let's begin with the individual interviews. So please let either US VPPM or a PM member be present. In the house, for example, we are conducting interviews only with VPs for multiple reasons. But what's Lille doing, and it's really a great possibility to wake members up after the winter break, is to let members participate in the interview. Don't forget to train them. And even if they're not participating actively and asking a lot of questions, it gives them the feeling to be part of the recruitment process and being part of who's gonna work with me. And yes, I mean, you know the interview agenda. You're presenting yourself, you're letting the candidate present himself. You will solve all the questions, present Isaac in France, but also the local positions. You explain the value proposition, the competence model. So explain the applicant what we can give him, how he can develop his or her competences. And then initiate questions. And you will find a lot of questions in the selection allocation tool. Don't forget to not only ask questions concerning the position and the function, but also concerning core competences and values. Remember to ask only the front office questions because we're not recruiting anyone for the back office areas unless you really need someone in PM. So what's the collective interview about? Well, if you have a lot of applicants, a lot of candidates, why not organize collective interviews? Because then you can test communication skills and teamwork capabilities. I mean, you have more candidates, so you have to adapt your procedure. Why not introduce everyone and then organize a little icebreaker so they can get to know each other. Then you could ask a question about Isaac. You can do this also in the individual interview, for example. Ask them what's different about Isaac. Why are you applying for Isaac? Why should we take you as a member? And then you can see if they prepared themselves, if they have experiences abroad, for example, or if they did go abroad with Isaac or were a member, etc. Then follows like the same steps as before. And what's crucial here is that first you're preparing a group task. You can, for example, ask them to think about how to organize an offline event to help with exposure on your campus. Then you can see who shows more initiative, who is less creative, how are they working together, are there conflicts, how are they solving them. And then you can take each and every candidate and conduct individual interviews and ask your questions. So you all heard about the functional task. This is basically a task for the applicants per function to prepare before the interview and send you, for example, a PowerPoint. Why did we think that it should be an optional task? Well, because this could demotivate some applicants. And for example, in Reims, we don't have not a lot of applicants, so we can't risk it. But we'll talk about functional task later. Now it's time to select and allocate. You can have a final meeting with your recruiters to evaluate all the candidates and decide together who will be part of the team and who do we have to reject. And now comes the important part, the feedbacks. So if there is a positive feedback, and again, don't hesitate to send French and English version, you can really express your emotions, that you're really happy that they are joining Isaac. Be personal. Tell them that if they have questions, they can ask us anytime. But also tell them to give the feedback until a certain deadline if they want to join Isaac, if they still have the interest and the time. And because now they're getting to know that the bonding is so important, if you have an apéro or an after work or a party, insert this information below, and also summary of the dates to save that you texted them in the beginning, because we all can forget. And it's also very important to write emails to rejected candidates. It's not fun. It's not really a positive feeling, but you have to give them the feeling that yes, they have not been selected, but we're thankful that they applied. There's a reason why we didn't take them, and we should encourage them to apply again. Why not? And if they want a detailed feedback on why we didn't take them, then give them the contact info. And here you can see the French example that you can also adapt. And bim, the last step, onboarding. This is very, very crucial. Now is the time to educate the people properly so they can actually perform in their new teams. If you click on the link, you can find the really detailed booklet on each of these 9 steps. And really think about how and when to do, for example, HR administration. You will have your first LCM. It's always better to have all the members present and do, for example, the sign up on Isaac.org so you can create the XBY access. Or the initial LDA with members who, didn't do it last time. And the same for induction day. Induction day is also very important. You can do the LDA on the induction day, for example, or this year. It's up to you. It's up to your planning, but don't forget the first 10 days are crucial, and that you're losing time if you're not, for example, telling them, well, do your neck, please. Yes. Also underline the importance of conferences. Me, for example, I joined Isaac in September, and I get so much motivation thanks to Spark. So give them the possibility to organize themselves. So here you can see the 9 steps. The first 10 days, for example, the first team meeting, the initial LDA, organizational induction, functional induction, and here you can do the functional task. For example, having the functional induction and then giving them a task to do together. This can also create team bonding. The task-based induction, first local committee meeting, and HR administration. This is, the first 10 days is chronological, but the rest, for example, the buddy program, you can organize it yourself. As I've told you, you can initiate the buddy program during your first LCM and combine these points. So if you have still questions, or you have a feedback, or you are doing things differently, don't hesitate to contact us, contact Fernanda. And yes, I'm very glad that you didn't fall asleep till now. So see you soon. Bye bye.